things just don't work out the way that you want, or you just can't seem to get ahead no matter what you do, or if you only had blank, if you only had that one thing, then things would just be better for you. Well, many of us have said or thought or felt at least one of those statements or something similar at some point. And if that's you, if in any of those, then this episode's for you. We'll explore one barrier and ultimately one change that might help you to not only get ahead, but to make things better and for life to be more how you want it to be. That's all in today's episode. Welcome to Enjoy Life. If you need a little push to pursue your goals or some encouragement to take ownership of the areas of life you can control, then you're in the right place. I'm Nick Mazey, and I'll be your host, and I'll be your guide for this podcast. I'll be sharing with you all the things that I've learned through my journey through overcoming struggles in my own life, earning a master's degree in psychology, and trying to be the best dad of two twin amazing girls that I can be. I'm going to share with you all the things that I've learned that will help you to choose your mindset, goals, and actions so that you can guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it. I am glad that you're here, and let's get started. Hello, and welcome to episode 149 of Enjoy Life. Yeah, once again, I always say, I'm thrilled that you're here. You're taking time to spend with me in this podcast so that you can guide your life to go where you want it to go and enjoy it more. And that's just an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. So like we talked about at the very beginning, today we're going to talk about, something that you can do if things aren't turning out exactly how you want. If you seem a little bit stuck, like you really wish things would be better, but there's some barrier standing in your way. So, something that you need, or that you think if you just had blank, or if it was, something was different, then life would be so much better. If you're kind of stuck in that place, then we're going to explore this in just one second. But before that, I want to share something with you. Sometimes we just need a quick win. Sometimes we need to just get a simple solution to help move forward and to just be able to achieve our goals, to maybe overcome some of that goal overwhelm. That overwhelm that can stop us from making progress, to taking action. If that's you at all, I made a simple quiz on my website that can help you figure out a goal killer solution. Goal killers are just a lot of things that stand in the way of us achieving our goals. And sometimes we need a simple solution. And so for that, just go to nickmazey.com/GKSQ. That's for my goal killer solution quiz. So it's nickmazey.com/GKSQ. And also, I'm already getting some great feedback because they are just simple solutions to being able to overcome some of the overwhelm, to be able to take some steps going forward and make some progress. If you need that quick win, then it's for you. And I created it for you. It's nickmazey.com/GKSQ. All right. On to today's episode. Today, what we're really talking about is life becomes how you view it. And this is a tough one. I know I'm just really starting off right with kind of a brunt force, to the face. Life becomes how you view it. And there's an example I use for this. And that was a long time ago. I had a roommate, with a particular outlook on life. Let's call it like that. And for a long time there, I had a lot of roommates, and I really couldn't tell much of the mindset or honestly the attitude and stuff of most of them. But this one in particular, is interesting. I spent probably the least amount of time with him. He was moving into this large apartment when I was moving out, but his outlook on life, really was on full display through his actions and his words, and it was just really, it caught me, it made an impact on me, and to put it just put it simply, he believed that the world was an evil, cruel place and everybody was pretty much out to get you. I know this because he would use those exact words quite often. And so he needed to fight for anything, and anything that he wanted to get, he had to fight for it. because nobody was going to help him, and it didn't matter how he treated people, because once again, the world was an evil, cruel place, and you got to fight for it. No. Do you see how his view, his outlook, could affect the way that he treated people? And it might affect the way that, he experienced life. And he wasn't a pleasant person. Of course, with the way that he viewed just the world and life, he really wouldn't need to be, because if it's a evil, cruel place and everyone's out to get you, then you don't just need to treat people nicely. And honestly, I don't really know what ever ended up happening or whatever happened to him. Like I said, he was moving in right when I was moving out, and but it's a simple fact. He stands out in my mind, and has for these years, because how you view the world, comes through in your actions. How he viewed the world definitely came through in his actions. Yeah, and I could tell that how he viewed the world, his outlook, his attitude, it affected how he experienced the world, how he experienced life. And so with that, kind of bringing it back to my message in this podcast, and my message overall is, what can you do if your attitude and outlook aren't leading to the life that you want? Like if you are stuck, if things aren't how you want them to be, it might be a good thing to look at your attitude, and your outlook, how you choose to view things. Because if they're not leading to the life that you want, if you're not experiencing the life that you want, if you're not enjoying life, then it might be time to try to change, that attitude and that outlook. It can be huge. If you want to live in a more positive world, if you want to enjoy things more, if you want to make the most of where you're at, then choosing to see the world in a more positive way, choosing to focus on the things that you can be grateful for, and have some gratitude, that can end up making such a huge difference. It can have a huge impact on your life. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden everything is perfect. What it means is that you appreciate the good things. You bring more attention to the things that you can be grateful for, and the positive things. And when your attention goes to that, when your focus goes to that, it gets bigger. It gets bigger in your life. And then that ends up coming through in your actions. That ends up coming through in the life that you lead, because you're seeing the positive. You're seeing the good things. Now, let me go ahead and tell you. This is not some simple, or it is simple. It's not some easy switch to flip. But taking a little bit of time, and being intentional, reminding yourself of the good things, it is such a huge payoff. Does it take a little bit of effort to wake up each morning and think of 3 things you can be grateful for before you get out of bed? Yes, it takes a little bit of effort to make yourself do that. Now, do I particularly jump up every morning and say, "Oh, life is wonderful, let me just think of great things"? No. In fact, I can tell you that this morning I was kind of in a grumpy mood when I first woke up. But you know what I did? I made myself think of at least 3 things that I could be grateful for before I got out of bed. I did. And you know what? I could. Even with things going on that I don't particularly care for, there's still things that I can think of to be grateful for. And that's what makes such a big difference. It's about being intentional and choosing to make yourself think of the things that are good in life, because there are good things in life. There are good things in life that you can think of, that are good things in life that you can pay attention to. If you have breath in your lungs, if you have a roof over your head, if you have food to eat, if you have water to drink that's clean, you have plenty of things to be grateful for. Choosing to shift your attention, or at least just remind yourself of those on a regular basis, that can end up impacting your whole outlook on life. Because when you cherish those simple things, then all of a sudden, just by knowing that there's good things out there and your outlook shifts a little bit, all of a sudden your actions can follow, and you can do so much more to actually physically change your life, because you see the possibility of it making an impact, because you see the good things. If you're seeing all the negative things, then it makes it so that it's harder to take the actions to make the changes, because you don't see the positive. You got to, work on the inside first, and then it comes out in the outside. You work on that mindset, and then all of a sudden, the actions to change the life on the outside, they're easier and they come more naturally for you. It does take a little bit of work, which I promise you, if you put in a little bit of the work, if you be intentional, if you choose to remind yourself of the good, positive things, it can make such an impact on your life. Now, yes, this podcast episode's coming out right before Thanksgiving, so it did kind of jar my mind to say, hey, we really need to make sure we're talking about this right now, especially right now, in the time for the country and the world. When this episode does come out, there are a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on that are not so positive. There are a lot of negative things, a lot of challenges and struggles, and at the same time, there's so much to be grateful for. There's always going to be negative stuff and junk and challenges and struggles and things that we don't like. That's life. That is life. At the same time, we can choose to remind ourselves of the good things, to give ourselves that positive mindset, to drive us to do the things that we can do to make the changes in our lives and the world that we can. It's up to us to be intentional with how we view the world, what we focus on. And when we do that in a way that shifts it back to the good, positive things, our action, it's going to be more easy. It's going to be easier and to drive our actions to make that impact, not only in our own lives, but in the lives of the people around us. It is worth the effort, I promise you. Remind yourself of 3 good things, 3 things that you can be grateful for. And if you really want to add power to it, do this before you get out of bed in the morning. When that alarm goes off, after you grumble for it going off, take a deep breath and remind yourself of 3 things to be grateful for. Do this in the morning. When I say remind yourself, you already know 3 things to be grateful for. And it might be just as simple as that you woke up, that you have clean water, and you got a roof over your head. You can get simple on this. But remind yourself of 3 things that you can be grateful for before you get out of bed, and that can begin to be the shift that you need to guide your life to go in the direction that you want to go, to enjoy it more too. All right? You can do it. You can do it. I really hope you enjoyed that episode and got some value out of it. If you did enjoy it, please rate and review this podcast, either on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It will really help more people find it. There's so many podcasts out there these days that I really rely on you to share this material so that more people can find it. You can always just share it with a friend. You can send them to nickmazy.com, or like I said, rate and review this podcast. Any of those is a huge help, a huge benefit, and I sincerely appreciate it. And also, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. You can find me on Instagram, just at Nick Mazy. Send me a message. Tell me anything that you like, or how I can improve, or just information you'd like to hear about on this podcast or through any of my material. And as always, you can go to nickmazy.com for more resources and topics just related to helping you guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it.